The Padres have found their next star. Move over Manny, move over Fernando. Maybe this guy will also play a different position. Leo De Vries, number 3 prospect now overall in all of baseball. Also cool to see Ethan Salas up there at number 29, but this video is going to be about LDV himself, Leo De Vries, and everything that he could mean to the San Diego Padres. What's going on, everybody? I'm Christian Pedersen, back with another episode of Padres Digest. Thank you very much for tuning into the show where I, a random dude on the internet, spout thoughts, musings, and feelings about the Padres to help us all come together and survive the season. This is also the part of the show where I just real quick ask if you could hit the subscribe button. It would be great. All right, I'll bug you about it one more time at the end of the show. Let's talk some baseball. I'll go back to this glorious ranking right here. And 2 disclaimers before we go through the rest of this. 1, I understand that this is an 18-year-old, and these numbers are in the Fort Wayne Tin Caps Class A context. 2, I understand that the Padres, on some of this, they want a guy up, but they're going to be realistic with all of the guys. But it's still in the realm of this guy is good enough at his job that I think it's worth talking about his impact already on the Padres. Like we saw, he's been updated the number 3 overall prospect in baseball. Want to just run you through shotgun sort of some of the numbers. This one, obviously, from a few weeks ago, but at one point he was leading the Midwest League in slugging, OPS, the ISO. We said this is an 18-year-old. I, earlier in the season, had called him a hidden gem. He is the number 1 overall Padres international signee. For the casual baseball fan, this guy at 18 is just getting on people's radars right now. So I apologize if some of this video explanation and discussion feels like some of you already knew it out there. I'm just helping the masses understand what the Padres have access to right now is an 18-year-old who's hitting like that, and his numbers right now actively as he is playing his recent games are they're pretty dang good. He has hit for the cycle, as I'm trying to pull up here. We got the total numbers on the cycle. Apologies. Got too many I literally have too many Leo De Vries. This is his second cycle. He is very, very good. Also on the defensive side. He has limited time with the Padres in spring. He showed off more of the defense than the offense. And I get that. That happens. Young guy, first spring training, didn't end up getting a ton of reps. I think spring training numbers can be interpreted as seriously or as unseriously as anybody ever wants to interpret them. But they're just, to me, they're more of a fun thing to look at just to see, hey, did a young guy completely fold or not? I don't think he completely folded. So I do think that when you look at the numbers here, he's hitting well. He's hitting extremely well in recent series. And where I was saying with, I get that this is a minor leaguer at the lower levels, that the 280 here is not going to go back to 275 if he jumps all the way from Fort Wayne to San Diego. And I know that that's a relatively unrealistic thing, but when you're hitting for cycles like that, it shows that sometimes, you just got it. And I think there are some guys through Major League Baseball history that you can just be like, call it whatever you want, the sniff test, the smell, the eye test, the vibes test, the this, that, or the other. They're just some of those dudes that and to hold them back for the sake of being like, we got to develop him, we got to this, that, or the other, ultimately could be counterintuitive and not beneficial. And you look at other guys in the Padres lineup right now, like Manny, like Fernando, they both got chances very, very young, and ultimately it did pan out. And I know that that's not a a guaranteed one or the other kind of thing where you're just like, oh yeah, like Manny did it, so and so did it. But this is a headline going around that it's become a kind of well-known fact as people are trying to get to know this guy, that he's 18, so saying he grew up watching and idolizing these guys is not like some crazy thing, because he was a 15-year-old very recently, like to start of the pandemic when Padres were at the peak of Slam Diego. So it makes sense that he would fall in love with these guys, and now he has a chance to play in their orbit and with them in some spring training and maybe in the major leagues. So like, he's modeled himself after what these guys have done, and these are guys who have come up at a young age and performed at the highest of levels and answered the call. So he, I think, has at least at the base, to me, I'll say he has the bar set for himself high enough that I have at least curiosity at giving him a crack. So maybe if one end of the spectrum is we hold him back naturally as he progresses through every single level and gets up to the major leagues when he's 20 in 2026 or something like that, and we can plug him in then as if you really slow walk it, maybe that's one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is trade Xander Bogaerts tomorrow, do whatever you have to do, eat the contract, send him off for peanuts, DFA him, just like kick him out of the clubhouse, the GIF where the key card doesn't work, and then promote this guy from high A to the majors to be the starting everyday shortstop. Like, if those are the two ends of the spectrum, obviously the solution is going to be somewhere in the middle, but having this kind of a guy in a pipeline is always good to have an 18-year-old vibe, but now seeing the footage and seeing the numbers and seeing the results does sort of start to move the conversation, I think, more towards the, at least for me, I would like to see it move the conversation more towards the side of this guy is something. This guy is something special, and maybe we need to protect him a little bit, but also maybe we need to get him around his idols and get him around those people. And he's young, and he's under team control at a pretty decent price for right now. So it might be just worth throwing him into the frying pan, or out of the frying pan into the fire. So let's call the middle of all of that, he's a September call-up for this year. That being said, though, if the conversation can turn to him being there this year at some point, that's got to light a fire to me under Xander's butt, because this guy, once he gets in the clubhouse, I think, I'm telling you, he passes just the vibe tests. So once he gets in the clubhouse, to me, it's just going to be game over. He's going to get in that starting lineup one way or another. And the other positions, unless they do slow walk this and Manny decides to just be like, oh, I'm going to only play third base every now and then. Jake's great at second. First base, we've got it covered with some power hitting guys, or Luis Arraez. Shortstop's the option. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment, because I think that this could be an interesting debate of, is he, like, where do we take time to really develop this prospect, or are we just seeing recently enough that this guy's just got it, and that we have other guys in our lineup who did it at a young age, so why the hell should we gatekeep with this kid? Let's get him in. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment below. Like I said, if you could hit the subscribe button at the beginning, it would be much appreciated. Until next time, keep the faith, Padres fans. 2025 just keeps on getting better and better.